Hi, I'm Chief Travis Griffith with the San Angelo Police Department, and this is Beyond the Badge. And I'm here with Les Bird, who is a lieutenant with our police department here in San Angelo. And we're going to be talking a little bit about your career. It's been a lot going on.
A whole lot.
33 years and 3 months, is that right?
4, but who's counting?
So 33 years and 4 months, right?
Right.
That's pretty amazing. In that time, you have served in many different capacities in our department, and you're coming up on retirement. I bet you don't know exactly the day you're going to retire, do you?
Not exactly, but I believe it's January the 31st.
And counting down some minutes.
Yes, I actually have a timer set for that. So.
Right around the corner. Now, Les, just before we get too far into like your career aspect, tell us a little bit about you.
Well, I grew up in a small town of Sweetwater. I understand you're from Snyder. I'm not sorry, but
Mustangs.
yes, I know we were rivals of the Snyder Tigers.
I actually grew up in Merkel and then did my first working in Snyder.
Okay.
So, but I was there at Snyder for 5 years. The Tigers, and they were
Downhill then.
Yeah, for sure. Downhill.
But so anyway, raised in a Christian home. 2 brothers. I'm the middle one, so I'm that middle child that.
I'm also middle. I'm about to get a little here.
My wife's a middle child, so we're a middle child family.
There you go.
Had great parents, very supportive parents. My dad passed away several years ago, but a very, very positive role model and mentor for me throughout my life.
That's a blessing.
Yeah. My mom lives here, and still have lunch with her almost on a daily basis, and so enjoy that visit with her.
You get some kiddos?
Yes, I do. I have 3 kids. One's married and living in Lubbock with 3 kids of her own, and so I actually have 4 grandkids now. So,
do they call you Grandpa?
They actually call me Daddy B.
Daddy B. Okay.
And that actually goes back from me having a great granddad who we called Daddy Sant.
Okay.
But he had a middle initial B, and so do I. I was named after him, so I kind of put that together, and I thought, I would like to, partly from him, as be Daddy B. Yeah. So right now it's mainly B.
Okay.
I get called B all the time, and
I thought it might have been like when you were a disc jockey or something, because Daddy B is somebody disc.
No, not quite. But so I really enjoy spending the time with the grandkids, and probably be spending more time with them here in the near future.
Sure. You have some free time, right?
Yes.
It's awesome. So Les Bird has 33 years with us and is leaving at the rank of lieutenant, which is a commander level. So you're usually over divisions. And how many different divisions have you supervised over the years?
I believe it's 4. So 9 years or so as a patrol lieutenant, several years over CID, the Criminal Investigation Division. Did about a 4-year stint over communications, which included that, records, and IT.
And that would be communication would be like dispatch.
Yes, the comm center, yes. And finishing up here running street crimes. So,
which is kind of like a special operations group. They do maybe like guns and gangs and stuff like that. It's pretty intense.
Oh yeah, it's been very enjoyable. The last started that in 2019, the fall of 19, and I've really enjoyed it.
It's nice. Well, hey, let's take us back to when you first got into law enforcement, thinking about getting into law enforcement. What took you there? It's like over 35 years ago because of the application process and everything else. So what made you want to get into this?
I know a lot of people believe it, and I do too. I believe it's a calling. Mm-hmm. I can tell you that my entire life, I can remember as a child, law enforcement was something I wanted to do. That I never went away. I think the only thing I told my mom one time when I was a kid is I either want to be in law enforcement or a race car driver.
And you kind of get to do both.
And yes, so the thing about that is she just said, well, is there not something else dangerous you would want to do also? And
that sounds like something a mom would say, right?
So yes. And so when I actually got into law enforcement, ended up going to college and majored in government with criminal justice, got my degree with Angelo State University.
Nice. Is that what brought you there from Sweetwater?
Yes, that brought me here. And so I ended up getting hired in San Angelo. And so I told my mom, basically, I said, I got the best of both worlds. Mm-hmm. I got in law enforcement and I get to drive fast.
There you go. It's perfect.
But my third grade lunchbox is the old Adam 12 police show lunchbox. I actually still have that.
There you go. It's probably worth some money.
It may be, but it's not for sale.
Anybody's out there listening, don't try to hit you up. All right. You remember what your like first day or first week? Anything stand out? I know it's a long time to go back, but like what exactly do your memories of that first initial time into law enforcement?
It's really, I just remember riding around. I remember my field training officer, he told me, he said, today you're just going to ride around in the police car and get used to riding around in a police car. And he said, because people are going to be looking at you because you're in the police car.
Yeah.
And, I remember riding around just thinking, wow, it's hard to believe I'm here doing this. Especially knowing from when I was a kid wanting to be in law enforcement, and here I was doing it. And it was kind of odd thinking, wow, here I'm really doing this.
You're like living out 1 out of 12, right?
Yeah, I was actually on Adam Company when I first started. So.
That's pretty cool. How has policing changed in your mind since those first days? Because I mean, that was the 90s, right? Mm-hmm. And so 90s until now, what does things look like in policing?
The world has completely changed in law enforcement. When I first started, you had a radio with 5 channels on it, and now I have channels I don't even know what are. I know they're on there, and there's no telling how many are on the radio. That's just one thing. But the changes, body-worn cameras, when those came around, I remember we were all having a fit. Oh, I'm going to be recorded all the time.
All the time.
And I think the body-worn cameras are a very positive thing for law enforcement because you get to looking at that, and all it can do is help you.
Yeah.
You do your job, it's going to help you do your job. The technology, the report writing, for going from writing them on paper and using whiteout when you make a mistake to...
Y'all would actually write it by hand, right, when you started, and if you messed it up, you would have to white it out.
White out. I remember when they started doing the correction tape.
Okay. Oh yeah. So it's like a white out roll.
It was great. It was nice and neat. So believe it or not,
those like
those little things made a big difference.
Originally, you were kind of like Bob Ross when you first started, right? You got so many different things. You're painting up a whole thing.
If you use too much, your sergeant would tear it up and tell you to write another one. There's too much white out.
Yeah. But being ASU alumni, that probably didn't happen much for you, right?
No,
you were on point. Yeah. Well, cool. So yeah, there's been so many things that have changed just in my 20 plus years, and I couldn't imagine that adding that extra 13 plus years on there, that's a lot. And like you said, the technology, I was first coming into law enforcement when the in-car camera system was there, and it was barely, I think, people were always worried about that too, is because you knew when it was on, you knew it was off. It's not connected to your body, but that's a pretty big change.
Sure was.
Career highlights, like what's something that you think, man, this is something that you want to share with like anybody viewing or watching or listening that might be like, hey, this is something that really stands out to me.
Just my entire career, it doesn't seem like I really had time for things to get boring or monotonous because I got to do so many different things. Mm-hmm. One thing that does stand out, I guess that kind of was a big deal, maybe a couple of things, is we had 2 weeks as a lieutenant. I was in charge of security on the interior of Fort Concho back when the FLDS incident occurred.
Yeah.
I spent 2 weeks running that, and I was either on the phone, on the radio, or talking to somebody 14 hours a day for 2 weeks.
We just had so many resources.
And there was a lot going on, people showing up to help, people, a lot of law enforcement showing up to help. I worked side by side with a DPS lieutenant those 2 weeks.
Because y'all had other law enforcement agencies there helping because it was trying to offset. It was beyond really the capacity of SAPD.
Yes, and I know our people were 12 hours on, 12 hours off. No days off, vacations canceled. There was a lot going on with that. Something that goes kind of right along with that, when I became incident commander in 2005 as a lieutenant, running security for the Coliseum as a shelter from Katrina.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
and Katrina. So all those kind of things that I was in charge of.
And you're working directly with the community and other leaders inside the city when you're doing
Yes.
stuff like that.
Yes.
That in itself has a lot of playing, because you know the people that you work with and they know who you are. But when you're having to put your diplomat hat on, right, to get things done is a lot.
Oh yeah, working with city manager's office, operations, storm. I mean, they're all involved when it comes to something that big.
And so you promoted to sergeant, and I want to say in 1998. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. So you did basically the minimum number of hours or the time frame before you went from an officer to a sergeant. Is that right?
Yes, and back at that time they had what was called master police officer, which is not the same as the master peace officer certification, but
kind of like a corporal that you would see in another place.
Yes, it was a corporal with no
responsibilities
or supervisory, but you had to actually have that before you could test for sergeant, and that went away many years ago. But so yeah, I guess right at 5.5 years in.
Yeah. So normally that would be 5 years when you combine promoting to that position. So you promoted almost spot on at this earliest possibility, which I think speaks to like your intelligence and like your drive, because it was almost exactly 2003, right, when you went lieutenant.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, that's another just spot on what the time frame you need,
Yeah.
which is hard in our department because a lot of people don't know this. We only have, especially back then, we only have like seven lieutenants for the whole department. So you'd have to wait for an opening.
Right. And those, they don't happen real often.
And I think something God really opened up the doors for you because it was just right there. Boom.
And it's very competitive. So
yeah, for sure it is. Yeah. A lot of people don't know. You have to take all these different tests and go through and then hopefully the number one guy really has got to be who's going to promote.
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So you spent since 2004, you've been a lieutenant, which is the command level of the department, going everything from being the incident commander, which is the guy that's in charge of the SWAT operations, right? The one that's in command so that you can have some separation from the admin. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, as critical incident command, we have, when we have a standoff, for example, it may involve a barricaded subject, and you have the negotiators out and the SWAT team out, and it's a very large scale operation, involves a lot of people, a lot of resources, and it always obviously depends on the actual incident. And admin itself, I don't know, 4 or 5 chiefs, they're gonna obviously have a big interest in that and either show up or be available to talk to. And but it's one of those deals where at the end of the night, you're in charge of that deal, and you just got to hope you've been trained well and that you can deal with those situations in the best possible way. And, I can't sit here and say how many incidents I've commanded, but I can say that I've never had a really unsuccessful one as far as that goes.
Yeah, and those are such, I mean, a lot of people don't understand the depth of what that is. They think there's just like a couple, from what you see from the outside, right? You just see what looks like about 5 or 6 guys out there, trying to do a little bit of command, and 5 or 6 guys around the house. But it's got hostage negotiators, it's got support teams behind it, it's got people that are coming in that are operating the computer systems and radios, and then you have your command base. And now we have drones, right, that are all incorporated into that.
I tell you what, the addition of drones to be able to use them. For years, incident command, you're commanding this incident, just listening to radios, listening to people with no picture of what you're running out there. And it always just bugged me.
Yeah.
And with our drone team, they're an awesome team. That is a very good tool for law enforcement.
Because you can actually see what's happening.
Because now I can say, I want to see the front of the house.
Yeah.
What's the back door look like? What kind of windows are on the side?
Which would matter tactically of how you're going to have a plan to go forth and deliver whatever you're going to do, whether it be a phone or
and to be able to maybe send a drone in a house instead of a man at the time or a team. We've actually done that a couple of times with the drone team on a deal that chose not to do a call out on, but it fit a call out. But the drone team helped us with that, and it worked very well.
The ability to have eyes on locations for some sort of, whether it be a critical incident or whatever it is, to have that advantage is just it's hard to get anything better than that. Really,
it is.
With that, how do you stay grounded and resilient in such demanding roles that you've had?
I try to keep work at work. I'm a believer. I believe in Jesus Christ as the Son of God, and I go to church all the time. My family's, I was raised in church. I read the Bible every day. I pray every day. Very supportive family. My wife, very supportive. Through all of that and having a life outside of work, to me is very important. I do work on the grounds at my church. That's time to get out and do stuff. And
when you've been a lieutenant since 2004, I mean that's 20 plus years of you being in charge.
Well, it's kind of funny because we kind of joke with some of these younger guys. Talk about some of us have been in law enforcement longer than some of these new guys have been alive. And the other, not long ago, was talking to a group, and the funny thing was, like, I've been a lieutenant longer than some of those guys have been alive, which is an odd thing right there. So
that is because we can hire them at 21, right? 21 years old. You can hire at 20, actually, in some weird things where if you turn 21 in the academy, but it is weird because that time frame, you have been a lieutenant longer than somebody's been.
And when you tell a story about something, you with guys having coffee or something, and you're standing around talking about something, and you mention, well, back in '94 when I was, and they just kind of give you this look, and you look at them and you go, yeah, you didn't exist. I understand that. And that's what they're kind of smirking about. So
you spend more time explaining the culture and the events of the day than actually talking about the story you originally started on. Yeah. What do you think your legacy is in the department? Like, what do you think that people will remember you by, if you will? I mean, that's one way of putting it. What is the thing that stands out about Les Bird?
I mean, I would like to think that I'm a person of integrity. I strived all my years as not just an officer, but as a supervisor to be as fair as I possibly could, as consistent as I possibly could, and be able to listen to people and reason with them. And but I would really like to think that. I would like to think that I'm remembered for being a Christian. And I'm not saying I was always perfect, but I tried my best and always tried to do the right thing. And so I hope I'm remembered for that.
I think you're spot on with that. I think that that says a lot about your self-awareness, and I think that's where it's going to land. What advice would you give to somebody that young person we're talking about, that the whole time you've been a lieutenant, right?
Yeah.
What advice would you give them thinking about getting into law enforcement?
Kind of one of the things that I even spoke about is go home and do something other than be involved in police work. Don't go home and talk about police work all the time. I'm not saying don't do that at all, but have time away from that. Just put it out of your mind. Just go do something. Spend some time outside of that, and go to church and develop that friendship. Have some friends outside of law enforcement, not just cops.
So would you think that that's a good way to kind of succinctly put that, would be like, don't let your identity be in your work? Yeah. I think that's a good message there. That I think one thing that's interesting about law enforcement is its purpose, right? Its meaning of what you actually do, even though there's a lot of convoluted stuff that we can get into, politics, there's all sorts of stuff that gets into, but at the core of law enforcement, it's to help those that are in need, right? That are the defending the defenseless. It's going out there and sometimes doing some of the mundane things that just over and over the same call. But ultimately, the premise of what we do is to be the advocate for those that can't, right? And that's a pretty good thing to get behind. I think why a lot of people end up kind of devoting almost too much of their life to it, that it becomes their identity, and then that has a bad road.
Well, and overtime is a good thing for the guys. You know, you make some extra money, but we all know money's not everything. But I'm not saying don't work overtime.
Yeah,
but take some time away and don't do that. So
yeah, for sure. So what's next for Lieutenant Les Bird? What is the next steps for you?
Well, I am going to rehire part-time. Believe it or not, that's there's probably a lot of people that are saying, "Are you crazy?" And but you know, it's like I stated earlier. I believe law enforcement is a calling. I don't think it's a job. If you're needing a job to make some money, I don't think law enforcement is it. People get into law enforcement and they leave after not long. I believe it was not their calling, and somehow or another they figured that out. But you know, I may be retiring, but I'm not old and decrepit, so don't want to just sit around the house. And so I'm going to rehire part-time and work in elementary school for school safety. These kids still, you know, by law, there's got to be a law enforcement or some sort of security at schools. And, you know, I know you know that. And so for a little while, I'm going to rehire part-time and do that. I mean, it's to me, it's going to be very low stress.
Right.
And
almost the equivalent of retiring.
Yes.
From when you're coming all the way up here to managing SWAT call outs and all this stuff to down to now you're helping protecting.
To be able to have probably as little responsibility as I can possibly have, and to do that for a little while.
And that's a program it's a part-time position that you do because you're still certified. So you'll be retiring and getting your retirement, but you're only going to work a small number of time during the week, and then also you'll be off in the summers. Yeah,
to me it'll be great because I get to work in the middle of the week. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 4-day weekends, holidays, obviously, and summers off. So I think it'll be a good little change of pace.
You get to enjoy spring break, like
yeah, sure will.
Well, you know, there's a lot of things that have changed over the years, and there's a lot of stuff that I'm sure we can't cover in this short time frame. But I want to say thank you for serving our community for 33 years and 4 months, man. This has been no matter how grounded you are in your faith, no matter how grounded you are in a wonderful family, there's still a toll that goes with that. And I want to say thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Is there anything, as we close out, is there anything that you might have for either the viewers or anybody that's listening that you'd like to say in regards to your career, your path, whatever it might be, just advice in general?
No, I think just mainly, as I stated earlier, I thank the Lord and Savior for my career, and I've enjoyed it, and it's been a good career, and I think the Lord has brought me safely through that. And
amen.
Same thing with the support from my family and especially my wife. And but that. I think that's pretty much it. And I'm really looking forward to retirement. Even though I'm going to wear the uniform part-time, I still look forward to the end of this month.
You get to spend time with those grandbabies and everything. Yes. That's awesome. Well, hey, listen, thank you for what you do, and appreciate you. And I want to say to you, San Angelo and the Concho Valley, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you here at the city and for the police department. And I hope you'll tune in next time on Beyond the Badge.